Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Carp. I'm Steve Carpenter, Sports Information Director at Hutchinson Community College, and your host for this podcast. Well, we've gone through the Blue Dragon coaching staff and athletic department staff as we continue to go through time with no games, and that's why Conversations with Carp was created, to keep Blue Dragon Nation in touch with their favorite team and school. Today, I have the fortune of talking to Denny Stoecklein, Director of Marketing and Public Information for Hutchinson Community College, and a very big advocate for Blue Dragon Athletics. Denny, thanks for taking some time to speak with us.
Hey, I'm happy to, Carp. Thanks for inviting me to join you. I've been listening to these, and they've really helped pass the time. It's pretty lonely over here in Lockman Hall with no students and no faculty and very, very few people making the trip to campus these days. So they've been a great source of entertainment and great information too.
Oh, thank you very much. You do a lot. I mean, if you see us in public, you might get the thought that maybe Denny and I don't get along so well. We get along great, but we do like to pick on each other. And we're going to discuss a lot of different topics. And we're going to save something a little bit later: the secrets of the Hobart Debtor press box. And for you and me, we can get dark with that particular subject, can't we?
We can, and there's probably some things that happen there or get discussed there that we probably can't put out on public airwaves. But that's probably one of the things I miss the most right now during this whole pandemic is we should be down there couple times a week at least for Blue Dragon baseball and all the hijinks that go along with it.
Oh, totally agreed. But let's first of all let's talk about the new normal. Obviously, March 12th, kind of the world changed. I mean, everybody knows about it now. There's no secrets. The world's basically shut down because of the pandemic. And so, what is the new normal meant for Denny Stoecklein in your department?
Well, that's a great point, Carp, and just a quick overview. The marketing department here, there's three of us. Myself, Janae DeWeese, who's the Assistant Director of Marketing and PR, and then Carrie Holden, who's the webmaster of the college's public website, and amongst other things that she assists us with. And right now, I'm the only one who's coming into the office. The others work remotely, and it's, I think marketing people, PR people, we're an outgoing sort, and so we're used to brainstorming, getting around, and talking to other people. And frankly, right now it's pretty lonely. We're doing a lot of meetings by Zoom, a lot of conference calls, a lot of texting. But, we're still moving forward, and we're working very closely with other departments like admissions because there's still going to be classes. It's just a matter of what format of those classes is going to be presented in. And so the job of working with them to recruit students and work towards enrollment and all the other things for the programs here, that work still continues.
You bet. Like I said, it's the world is shut down, but individually, each department of the Hutchinson Community College campus still has plenty of work to do, and but it is different. You're definitely correct about that.
I'm just going to one thing that people have often said, whether it's talking about colleges or K through 12, well, schools are closed. Schools are closed. No, they're not. Every school is open. It's just the buildings might be physically closed. It's how we're delivering classes and education is what's changed. So, when you're in the PR world and you hear that people say, "Well, schools are closed," no, there's not a school out there that's closed in the sense that we all think about it.
You bet. In terms of Blue Dragon Athletics, you do so many things for it. Again, I mentioned you're a great advocate, but you help us out in the press box with football. You're one of the game operators up in game ops. You help us out at the scorers table. You're the PA voice of Blue Dragon Baseball, and you're my backup guy for Blue Dragon Baseball broadcast, which is very appreciative on my part. But let's talk about that a little bit. There's just a lot of people don't realize just what it takes to put on an event at our level.
That's a great point, Carp. And, one of the things I was so excited about when I had the opportunity to come to work here at the college, I started in July of 2015, which is the same time that Athletic Director Josh Gooch started. So Gooch and I kind of had that connection and that bond, and we'd met prior to coming here, but really didn't know each other. And working for Dr. File, he is very supportive of us having the opportunity to get involved in various aspects of the college. And so when I told him, I said, hey, I'd love to help out in athletics and do as much as I can. He said, go for it. And so, getting the chance to work in the football press box, one of the clock operators running the start and stop of the game clock, which I'm just going to go on record, Carp, and say that when people are at a game and they hear the white hat say, please reset the game clock, that doesn't mean I screwed up. That means they screwed up on the field, and we're just having to fix their mistake. Okay?
That's right.
Just want to get that out there and make that clear. But working up there with Coach Knack and then Tom Riley running the play clock, a great group, Darren Dunn, Bo Frondorf, everyone that kind of works in that. And we have a good time doing it, but it's also something we take very seriously, supporting Blue Dragon football.
You bet. Another project that you and I both have a big hand in is the Wall of Champions here in the sports arena. That, with the exception of getting some pictures in from the NJCAA side, it is very close to being a done deal. It's always going to never be done because there'll always be add-on stuff, but initially that project it's fabulous. It's located on the west side of the sports arena. Let's talk about the Wall of Champions a little bit.
Man, that thing is just, I'm glad you brought that up. That thing is just outstanding. And I don't say that to pat you and I on the back because there's other people that have had a hand in it, but just the product itself. And I was really, as a lot of people were, that, 3A state got cut short and then we didn't get to host as a community the National Junior College Tournament because that was really going to be a chance for that thing to shine and get people there to utilize it. But the touchscreen aspect of it is something that I know we were all very supportive of as we talked about how are we going to honor the history of that facility in the sports arena and everything that's happened there. There's only so much wall space for hanging plaques or putting trophies up. But to do it in a digital virtual format like that where people can go back and look at a team from 1952 and see who won the tournament and see who was on the roster. I think that just brings a great level of value to what we can share with people. And not only that, but, talks a little bit about the community and the fact that the arena is utilized for so many things besides Blue Dragon events. When folks are in town and looking for a place to eat or a place to stay or a place to go. It's really a neat tool, and frankly, it's something we're talking to some others on campus about expanding the use of that throughout campus.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. It is great. Again, it's located on the west walls of the sports arena, and when you're in here for a game, please stop by and check it out. There's a you could take some time and still not get through everything that's in there now because it houses not only Hutchinson Community College athletics, it has the Dillon Lecture Series, it has all the Quarterback Club Hall of Fame, all the NJCAA stuff, all the Acacia stuff from both basketball and a newer one that's not quite as extensive because we've only had the state tournament for 2 years, but volleyball. But the information on that is just extensive, and it's a lot of fun to go through.
It is, and you mentioned about when people are at games, but really with the arena being open for folks to walk and things like that, anytime the arena's open, that's available for people to come see. And I know Gooch and I had talked about trying to do some kind of an open house event, during basketball leading up to the tournaments, and current circumstances prevented that from happening. But maybe that's something we look to do in the fall when things settle down and give people a chance to come in and put some of us there to help walk them through you can't screw up with it. It's a touch screen. So if you went to the wrong place, you just touch another part and go back to where you want to go.
You bet. You bet. Well, another aspect that you and I are both heavily involved in is social media, and especially Twitter. And I did happen to go back, we were talking about it, one of our days, we did go over 200 on a day where you were at baseball, I was at softball, track was going, and having an exceptional day. You and I put over 200 tweets out in one day. That's pretty remarkable for two people.
Wow, I had no idea. I think when we're doing those games, you just get into a rhythm, and especially if there's a lot of good things happening for the Blue Dragons that you want to share the news of, you start throwing those tweets out there, and I think, and credit to you and your staff, when you look at Twitter accounts amongst several colleges, especially the athletic-related ones, the content that gets churned out from Blue Dragon Sports is second to none. And I think we've created a following where people know that's a reliable source they can go to get information about athletics, but also game updates.
You bet. You bet. It's turned into an invaluable tool. But we do have to explain. You talk about followings. Baseball season, and unfortunately this year obviously got cut short, but it also was the end kind of a Twitter era, as you might say, when Jamel Cervantes moved on to Wichita State. But the game-by-game updates of Jamel's fielding prowess in the coaching boxes was a staple of Blue Dragon baseball Twitter.
Without a doubt, and I'm glad you brought that up because, Coach Cervantes, the years that I've been involved doing this, you don't need more than one hand to count all the foul balls that he actually fielded cleanly that were hit his direction. You and I combined don't have enough fingers and toes to count all the ones he booted. And so we thought that was, a worthy thing to put out there and share with people. I tried to have a little bit of fun with that with Coach Cornejo and Coach Crandall, who are now in the first and third base coaching boxes. Got no love back from them when I would throw stuff out there. So we're going to have to work on those two a little bit to get them a little bit, to help them understand better that they're as much a part of this Twitter game that you and I like to play as anybody.
Oh, exactly. And what was classic was when Mel actually would happen to field one, his first reaction would be look right at the press box with this big grin on his face.
Yeah, sometimes he'd even hold the ball up, and I'm sure he was muttering a message our direction, but one that's better left unrepeated.
You bet. Well, I had mentioned earlier the secrets of the press box, and again, Denny and I are between the middle of February through probably the end of July are in the Hobart Netter press box quite a bit together, whether it be Blue Dragon baseball or Monarchs baseball, and we've had a lot of fun times. It never gets too serious in there where we're sniping. It's nothing like that. But some people have fallen into our web, and there's one story in particular. I'll let you take it from here, but you know where I'm going with this one.
Oh, without a doubt. This has to do with our friend Chloe, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Oh gosh, Chloe was from Ireland.
Yes.
Soccer player. And she and, was it Sheena that were working together up in the press box quite a bit?
Yeah, Sheena Nickel and Chloe Flynn, yes.
Yeah, and so they would run the camera for media production folks for the live stream. And so we got to know them pretty well. And there was one day I remember that Chloe was off running around behind the Blue Dragon dugout. And this was before the game started. And we sent a message down to her because baseball is obviously not as big a deal in Ireland as it is in the United States. So her knowledge of the game wasn't quite at the level that you and I possess. So as I recall, we got a message sent her direction that said, hey, you need to find Coach Cervantes. We need the keys to the batter's box. And she didn't just bite, but she took it hook, line, and sinker. And we watch her, and she stops what she's doing. She looks up, finds Coach C, and makes a beeline for Coach C. And we see them engaged, and they're talking and talking. And then Jamel's head just tilts up to the press box and looks at us, and he knew it. And so he has to break the news to Chloe that the batter's box is just that chalk outline on the dirt, and there's no key for it. And boy, she taught us some Irish words when she got back up to that press box.
Oh, indeed she did. Indeed she did.
And when Jamel was walking in front of the press box between innings once, he hollered up at us. He goes, "I didn't have the keys to the batter's box, but I told her where to find the bucket of left-handed curveballs." So, things like that are one of the highlights. And we don't do this as much during Blue Dragon baseball as we do during the Monarchs, but walk-up song roulette.
Yes.
Is a lot of fun as well.
Yes.
And we do tell the Monarch team when they come in, they all submit a walk-up song, as you know, because that falls in your lap of having to get all those loaded and ready to play.
Right.
But if they're in a slump, if the crowd is kind of lethargic and needs a boost, or if you and I are just bored, there's a very high probability their walk-up song is going to get changed. And it's going to be something we choose, and they have no vote in it. And I think we both know what our favorite story is related to that. It was during a Monarch season, but it was a Blue Dragon who was playing for the Monarchs. Great kid, our good friend Michael Hellman.
Yep.
And Michael was really struggling at the plate. And the Monarchs are an adjustment. It's a wood bat league, and it's not quite the same, and sometimes it takes guys some time to adjust. And Michael's this, all-American boy that, reminds you of some of your greatest or your favorite, TV stars back in the day. And one in particular came to mind for both of us, didn't it, Carp?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Which one was that?
That was Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island. So Michael strolls to the plate one day, and we play the theme from Gilligan's Island. And I think the favorite part of that for us is when we do it and you watch the reaction of the player, because they don't want to show it, but, this big smile comes across Michael's face, and he's just shaking his head as he walks up to the plate. Well, he digs in, and I don't know what pitch it happened on, but he connected and put it over the fence and left for a home run. And from that point forward, that was his walk-up song.
And that's really where walk-up roulette started, was with Hellman.
Yeah, it did. And sometimes, we'll throw it out on social media during a game if we're bored and say, "Hey, folks, we need some inspiration." And the best part of that is when family members start chiming in, "Hey, play this one for so-and-so," and giving us ideas that way. Just a way to break the monotony of maybe a slow game or maybe try to give a boost to a player who's not swinging the bat well.
Right. It's a lot of fun. And, if you ever get a chance, chime in on Twitter during Blue Dragon games and Monarchs games. Denny and I would love to hear you. Before we let you go, Denny, I do want to have you talk about your family, how you came to you're a Hutch Community College grad, how you came to get back here. So talk about your path back to Hutch and your family.
Oh, yeah, you bet, Carp. I'm a Hutch native, lived here most of my life, proud Blue Dragon graduate, went on from here to Kansas State University, the Kansas State University.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Bleed purple, which is really tough. I didn't have any blue and red in my wardrobe when I came to work here for obvious reasons. And I've had to change that. And now I can't really wear the purple. I get discouraged from wearing purple on campus, which I get that as well.
Yes.
But my wife, Michelle, been married close to 30 years. She's another former Blue Dragon. She was a cheerleader here, if you can believe that, Carp, back in the day. And then our two sons, Jordan and Ryan, both went to school here. Jordan went on to K-State, graduated, lives and works up there, and Ryan was on the baseball team here. So we got to have fun at his expense a few times. And then he went on to Fort Hays. Yeah, just a few. Well, gosh, he gives us so much ammunition to work with.
No kidding.
Went on to Fort Hays State, was on the baseball team there, and sadly had his senior year ended early because of the pandemic. But he's finishing up his degree online. And prior to, I mentioned earlier, I came here in July of 2015. Prior to that, I had a 20-year career at the Kansas State Fair just down the street. So, jokingly, I tell people I ran the Tilt-A-Whirl for those 20 years. But, no, I had a great time there, and I give a lot of credit to my good friend Coach Knack, who we were at lunch one day, and he told me about this position that was coming open and said it's something I should look at. And at first I just kind of shrugged it off, but the more he talked to me about it and the more I looked into it, it looked like something that would be a lot of fun and maybe a nice change of pace. And, man, looking back almost 5 years now, it's been a blast and no regrets whatsoever about coming over here, getting to work with folks like yourself and Gooch and Cap and Scooter and all the fine people at athletics. And, there isn't a day that I don't look forward to coming here and having some more fun.
You bet. It's a great place to work, and I may give you all kinds of grief as you do me, but I do appreciate everything you do for us and everything you do for Hutchinson Community College.
Well, thank you. It's I think that's what makes it fun for all of us, is we can have fun with each other and at each other's expense, and as part of that, I have to mention that you just got another year older.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, Social Security is just, you got to be able to hear it knocking, don't you? That and Medicare.
Oh, and then getting mail for funeral burial plots is becoming more and more frequent as well.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I thought you were going to say AARP, but you passed that threshold a long time ago.
A long time ago. Well, Denny, thanks for taking some time with us. We'll get back to it soon and get back in the press box together as quickly as possible and get things going again. Again, thanks for taking some time with us.
All right, well, thanks for the opportunity, Carp. It's been a blast, and keep doing what you do so well.
Appreciate it. That's Denny Stoecklein, Director of Marketing and Public Relations for Hutchinson Community College, and that'll wrap up another episode of Conversations with Carp. We'll talk to you again soon. So long, everybody.